One of my most favorite snacks is having deep fried and batter covered vegetables. And so what I want to do today is show you how to make fried vegetables in the dehydrator the healthy way. So we're going to be using, this works really well for onion rings too. Onion rings are actually my most favorite. So I have cut up some onions into rings. And the most important tip that I can tell you about making the onion rings is to use a sweet onion, because I did this the other day using a regular yellow onion, and when it dehydrates, it's very, very strong onion flavor. So if you don't want that really strong onion flavor, use a sweet onion. And so that's what these are. These are sweet onions. And then I have some mushrooms. These are just regular mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushrooms. I love to use a variety of different types of mushrooms, and but I just used a regular kind. And then I'm going to use green beans. These are little baby French green beans, and I bought those at Whole Foods. And I made these the other day also, but I didn't start from the beginning to show you how to make the batter. So I'm going to start everything from the beginning and show you step by step, because I have enjoyed these dehydrator made healthy version of fried vegetables so much that I think it's worth making a video and showing you how to do it step by step. So let's move on to the batter. Okay, the way I'm going to make the batter is I'm going to blend in my high-powered blender, or you can use just any kind of blender. I'm going to be blending a cup of soaked sunflower seeds. You can also start with dry sunflower seeds, but I like to use soaked because then it's germinated and it's more healthy. And of course they're raw, so start out with raw sunflower seeds, and I will be blending that with about a cup of water, starting with a half a cup. I'm going to be putting in some paprika, which is optional. You don't need to do that. I'll throw in a clove of garlic. Gives it a nice flavor. You can use garlic powder. And I'm also going to use some onion powder, which is also optional, but I like to use it. So these are, for my batter, these are my three main spices. And I forgot sea salt also. Let me grab that out of the cabinet up here. See, yes, I'm going to be using some sea salt. So let's go ahead and throw all of that into the blender. Okay, I'm going to measure out my sunflower seeds, because I'm going to make a little bit more than a cup. There's a cup there. I need more batter because I'm making a lot more vegetables. My hands are clean, so I'm just going to use my hands to scrape some of that out. So I'm actually using about 2 cups of sunflower seeds. And I'm going to measure out about a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of salt can be just that little area in the middle of your hand. If you didn't know that, and you don't have a teaspoon, you can measure it out in your hand. So about a teaspoon of salt, and probably about the same amount of paprika. It looks like I haven't opened this yet. This is brand new. Let's see. Breaking that piece of paper there sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to just put in some paprika. Oops. I got a big chunk fell out. I think I'm going to get that out of there. Oh, I don't want that. Another big chunk. It's not going to hurt it, but I like the color. There's probably about 2 teaspoons in there. And the onion powder. I don't usually measure spices, but I'm going to guess this is going to be about a teaspoon also. I'm going to go ahead and use a measuring and about a teaspoon. Okay. So I have all my ingredients in there. My clove of garlic, that's going to go in whole. Then I'm going to start, and I'm going to be using as purified as the best water that I have. And right now, see, I have some filtered water here that I'm going to use. Just everything that you put into your foods, as healthy as you can get it, will be the best. So I'm going to start out by measuring out a cup of water. If this was 1 cup of sunflower seeds, I'd be putting in a half a cup of water first. But this is just to get it started. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. I want it to be really thick. So I might not use a whole cup of water. Okay, the consistency should be thick, like that. And if you want, go ahead and take a little taste and see if you have enough salt and spices in it that you would like, and add if you need to. That tastes about right to me. So we're going to use this. I'll show you how to cover your vegetables with that. But we have one other coating, so stay with me. Okay, we're going to start by covering the mushrooms with batter. What I did was I cut the mushrooms to about a half inch thickness. You don't want to make them too thin because the dehydrator will just eat them all up and dehydrate them till they're gone. So you want to start with a 1/2 inch on these. Mushrooms shrink down a lot. So let's get them covered with some of the batter. As I want you to see how thick the batter is. Do you see? It's almost pourable, but it's not pourable. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to scoop some into the mushrooms and mix them up a bit so that they're all covered. Okay, I have some scooped in there. So now I'm just going to make sure that they're covered, thoroughly covered with the batter. Okay, I have that all nice and evenly covered with the wet batter. Now we're going to prepare the dry, crunchy covering that's going to go on this. Let's move this aside. This is what it's going to look like when it's completed. It's just a dry mixture of ground anything. So, actually seeds and nuts. So what I did, and what we're going to do, is we're going to put together some flax seeds into my little food processor, and we're going to grind it into a flour, a coarse flour, I guess. So I'm going to use flax seeds, sesame seeds, a little bit of sunflower seed, and a little bit of maybe that's it. Now I've done this with just 2 ingredients, which is what I did it with last time, and all that was the flaxseed and the sunflower seed, and I didn't soak them. They're dry. So and they were really good, and I added the spices such as cayenne pepper or chipotle powder or more garlic. Any way you want to spice this up, this is where the flavor is going to come from, when you bite into your yummy, yummy, yummy fried vegetable. So spice this up any way that you would like to with some dry spices. Let me show you how to do that in the blender or the little food processor. This is a little 4-cup food processor. Okay, let's be careful not to get anything wet in this mixture. So make sure you start out with a dry cup. I'm going to use some sunflower seeds. I just put in a 1/2 cup, and I'll probably use just the same amount of everything that I use. And I have some whole flax seeds. Flax seeds are really super good for you. Lots of fiber and lots of good omega-3 oils in there. So there goes the flax seeds. And you can stop there, and then put in your spices like your salt, and I'm going to use some chipotle pepper. But I'm also going to add some raw organic almonds to my mix. So I just used a 1/2 cup of everything. Okay. Oh, some sesame seeds. I love sesame seeds. It kind of gives it a little bit of a kick and adds some calcium nutrition. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup. So 1/2 cup. Okay. So I'm going to throw that in there. Again, you can just use 2. The point is you're just going to make a powder with spices in it so that you can cover your batter. And the point with the batter is just to get something wet on your vegetables. I mean, you can cover your vegetables with just olive oil and not have to go through all the batter recipe. But I found that the batter makes everything stick better. So okay, here we are. I'm going to throw in some salt. Hi, Jacob. Jacob just walked into the kitchen and he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And I like to use chipotle pepper because it's not as hot as cayenne pepper. But it gives it a nice smoky, whoops, I keep putting chunks. I don't want that much. There's a big chunk that fell in there. I guess that's good. Okay, so I'm going to grind these up to a powder. Okay, that's completed. Now we're going to cover the mushrooms with the powder. Okay, there's my floury mixture, my crunchy mixture. I should call it my crunchy mixture because it's not as fine as a flour. And I'm just going to scoop some up. And I have some of my mushrooms here that I put on a paper plate, just a few of them. And I'm going to cover them evenly with my crunchy mixture. Probably have to use my hands a little to turn them. So you want to be careful to keep your crunchy mixture dry. So you don't want to put too much on at the same time because you're going to have to cover a lot of vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these and cover the other sides. Whoops. I'm messing up with my camera, holding my camera at the same time trying to do this. Okay, I'm going to cover this side. Next I'm going to put it on the dehydrator tray and then put another then start over with some more mushrooms on my plate. Okay, I have finished covering them all, and they're sticking really well. They already look really good and yummy and crispy. And I'm going to place this tray into my dehydrator and set it for 105 degrees. You never want to go over 105 degrees because then it starts cooking instead of drying, and then it's not considered a raw healthy food anymore. So I'm going to put this into the dehydrator and I will set it for 4 hours to start. The mushrooms aren't going to take as long as the green beans and the onion rings. The green beans and onion rings both need to dehydrate for probably 12 or more hours. So let's go ahead and put these in. Okay, let's start all over with covering the green beans. So I just put some of that wet batter on the green beans and I'm going to mix it thoroughly so all the green beans are covered, and then we'll cover this with our crunchy mixture also. That's what it looks like covered. I had to use my hands. I didn't want to show that on video, but I used my hands to mix that so that it can be covered evenly. And here are my covered green beans. It was a little bit more challenging getting them covered because the surface area is smaller. If you want to work a little bit longer with them, you can cover them better than what I have them covered here, but I really didn't want to work that much harder today, so they're semi-covered and they're going to be crunchy and yummy anyway. So I'm going to put these in the dehydrator along with the mushrooms, and these will probably go about, I don't know, 12 to 15 hours. Okay, and here I am. I'm mixing up the onion rings into the batter, and then I'm going to cover them with the crunchy stuff also. These onion rings are taking a little bit more work. If you know me, onion rings is one of my most favorite treats of all. So I am taking a little bit more time spreading out, making sure the batter is on or covering these rings so that I can get the crunchy stuff to stick. So what I'm doing is just taking one ring at a time and making sure that all of it is sticking. This might be too much work for someone who's not into onion rings, but I love them, so I'm taking a little bit more time. Sometimes this, you can see that this batter, or the batter gets mixed in with the crunchy stuff and it becomes kind of like a dough. I just like press it into the onion ring so that it sticks. So you can take each onion ring and work with it like that if you want to go through all that trouble, or just sprinkle it and put it on. Either way works. So I just wanted to show you that in case you get frustrated while you're doing. You can do this. This is what you can do with the green beans also, just taking it one at a time, 2 or 3 at a time, and working with trying to get the batter and the crunchy stuff to stick. So the crunchier it looks, the better they'll taste. At least that's how I see it. So then I gently, very gently put it on my dehydrating screen. And what I've done also is some of the smaller little pieces. So I save room on my dehydrator screen as I put some of the smaller rings right inside, right in the middle. So that's what those look like, and I'm going to finish the screen and I'll be putting this into the dehydrator also. And this will go probably all day today and overnight. My last onion rings took about 20 hours, I think, before they were to the consistency I like them. Okay, now that my onion ring screen is completed, let's carry them over and add them to the rest of our veggies. So we have my onion, there's the onion rings, there's the green beans, another tray of green beans, and the mushrooms. So here we go. Next time I videotape, we'll see what they look like. Okay, making sure it's 105. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this all the way up to 24 hours. But I'm going to be checking the mushrooms in about 4 hours. And if you think I didn't make a mess, well, here's what I did to my kitchen. It's totally destroyed. Think I better start cleaning up? I think so. Okay, here comes the mushrooms. This is 5 hours later. As you can see, the screen is almost empty because we've been in them and eating them over the past hour or 2 hours throughout the stages of the dehydration process. These are, I think, going to become one of our favorite foods because these are crunchy, they're delicious, they're moist inside, and they have such a nice flavor. It's hard to stay out of. So I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to continue drying the green beans, which still need to go overnight, and the onion rings that still need to go overnight. So that's what's left of our tray of mushrooms. Here are the completed onion rings. They've crisped up really nice. And we have the completed green beans, and they also crisped up really nice. Now you can go as long as you want with these. You can go a little bit longer and get them even crispier, just depending on how you like them. You can do anything you want in the dehydrator. These look really good. Okay, so have fun making your batter fried veggies. Again, I think my new favorite are I can't even think tonight. The mushrooms, which are almost gone. And in another video, I'll show you how to make a dipping sauce. Have fun and be healthy. Brother!
Yes?
You want to taste my mushrooms?
Mm-hmm.
These are my dehydrator fried mushrooms.
Really?
Yes. What do you think?
I never had a dehydrator.
Are they surprisingly good?
Mm-hmm.
Am I putting words in your mouth?
Mm-mm. Earthy.
Earthy? They have a little kick to them, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
There's some spice in it.
It's good.
Would you recommend it?
Mm-hmm.
It's healthy.
It's spicy a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't made a sauce to go with it yet. It would be nice. It would be really good with a nice cool dipping sauce.
The salad's my favorite so far.
Okay,